Hello, welcome back to Tea and Toasties. I'm one of your hosts, Sabrina, and it's just me. Just for the intro, don't worry, Rich will be here very shortly. This episode is a little different. It is a kind of mini bonus episode. If you've listened to our past couple episodes, you know that we had to cut a bit from one and then splice it onto the next one. And with all of that happening, there was another extra hour of the episode that we had to splice. It doesn't matter, a bunch of editing jargon. Ultimately, it left us with 1 hour of content that did not have a home unless we made one of the episodes like 2 to 3 hours long, which we thought was just a bit insane. So the solution was to just post it as one separate little bonus episode. So that is what this is. This is a carry-on from our previous cause and effect episode, and we just discuss further on that and get into the themes of intention versus impact, amongst other things. So enjoy that, and we will be back on Monday with our regularly scheduled episode. All right, TTFN. Anyway, so
yeah,
we had that cause and effect conversation last week, and then since then you've been mulling a bit more on it.
I have. I've mulled.
So now
like wine.
We're back. Wow, mulled like wine.
Yeah, I mulled on it a little bit. I couldn't just like forget that stuff, so my mind went elsewhere with it. I added a layer this week to that thought, and I wanted to go back. So you got cause and effect, but I wanted to look at the intention of the cause.
Yeah, intention.
Yeah, so that's the key word. So I want us to kind of just look at intention versus impact. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like might have the best of intentions, but it didn't land, and it has the worst of outcomes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole, but that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm so guilty of that too.
What do you mean? Which part of that?
Not even, you can look at it as a big picture where it's like, I don't know, some big problem happened. You didn't mean for that to happen, obviously, but little things, back to the relationship stuff and the like the conversation nuances. That happens all the time where you say something and you didn't mean to upset your partner, and they're like, hey, that hurt my feelings. And instead of immediately being like, I'm sorry, you know, it's like, well, that's not what I meant. So I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. So then that feels invalidating to their feelings. So you have to do the thing of like, your feelings are valid.
I knew you thought on all this stuff already.
But for me, it's like, I know it's wrong, but I have to say it because I don't want them to walk away thinking that I did it on purpose. I don't want them to think I intentionally hurt their feelings.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm sorry. I know your feelings are hurt, but I did it. I need you to also still know I didn't mean to. I'm still going to say it. I'm always going to say
it's a weird one,
how
isn't
I
it?
actually meant the entire time.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Because it may not be that your intent, you understand your intentions, where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And when it could be to your partner, it could be to a friend, it could be to anyone, a rando. But is it that the person receiving the message, it also depends on them. There's two of you in this thing.
Yeah.
And it could be that, what would have landed, whatever you might have said, is going to land with one person and not another person.
Yeah. Because
the person that you're delivering the message to, they've got their own history, they've got their own experiences.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like, is there in the situation, is there a villain and is there a victim?
I know. Sometimes, yes.
Or are you both victims of the same situation?
Oh, God. Yes. Yeah. All things are true.
All those things. I think. Okay.
Yeah. I think there's definitely certain situations that are not even questions, like this person was in the wrong. And I think everyone should come to that agreement, right? Like yeah, I think there are cases like that.
Where there's just broad, sweeping statements and everyone can agree that that was well out of order, bang out of order, that you cannot look at the nuances. That was just poorly, wrongly delivered. And the intention was mean.
Yes. There's also the thing I've also done where you don't have time to think about your intention, but you are being mean. It just comes out, a reaction or whatever. And then that person's like, that was mean. And then you're trying to protect yourself and defensive. And you're like, no, it wasn't. I didn't mean like that. Because if you had taken 2 seconds to think before you spoke, you probably wouldn't have said that. Yeah. But you're in the heat of the moment. So then you did say something mean.
Yeah.
And
so it was retaliating.
Yeah. But
reactionary.
now you're on the defense. So you're like, no.
Right. Is that because as human people, we think the best of ourselves in a situation, and it's kind of like I am being defensive because I don't perceive myself to be the villain ever. Yeah, maybe. Is that why we're doing that?
Maybe, yeah. In an argument, I don't know, isn't that like by definition an argument is like you're both arguing your side? You don't go into an argument thinking you're wrong.
No.
You know?
I'm going to argue your point for you.
Yeah, so that's going to lead to
some conflict.
Disagreement, conflict. And then there are just some people, some cases, some scenarios where you're just going to like double down. I don't know.
And double down because you're fighting your corner. If you concede, you're giving up on your point, but you're also, there's something about you that you're giving up.
Yeah, maybe. Or it feels like, well, then everything was just pointless. Like my argument means nothing now. I don't know. Do you get to the point? I get to a point most times where I'm like, okay, I'm just over it.
Right. We've hashed this too many times.
I don't care anymore about the outcome.
Move on.
I'm just done. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I usually just get fed up with the actual argument itself. But I'm like, okay, like agree to disagree type thing.
Yeah. Because no one's budging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or this reminded me, intention and certain things landing differently. Like there's certain things you can say to one person but not the other. Or like certain ways. Like I'm a very jokey kind of person. I can get dark. I can get mean, but in a joking way, poking fun type stuff. And some people just do not take that.
Yeah.
And I kind of do it as a way of when I first get to know people, which is risky.
That is risky.
Because then it's like, but that's kind of how I fit, like,
that's how you roll.
Flesh people out.
Right.
I'm like, if they can give it back.
Yeah.
And we can have this banter.
Right.
Then I like, if you are too sensitive in that way, then probably we're not meant to be like friends.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that word, sensitive, right?
Yeah.
So the classic of, you there's the intention versus impact thing. And it's the classic, I guess, apology, if you like, if it didn't land and if you have offended somebody and you can clearly see that.
Yeah.
And then you say, I'm sorry if you feel that way.
Oh, but how sarcastic is that?
I know.
Can you ever say that and have it sound genuine?
Dude.
Even if you are actually genuine, it never sounds genuine. I'm
so guilty of having said that in the past.
So sorry you feel that way.
Yeah. I've got to like hold my hands up to that one and throw myself under the bus because I know for a fact I have said that in the past and I've since learned that is so not. Yeah. That is just basically more of a slap in the face.
Yeah.
You're doubling down because you've shifted all of the blame from yourself over to the person
it's your fault you feel that
you've
way.
Already offended.
Yep.
And you're saying that they are being too sensitive.
It's the same thing as saying like you're overreacting.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, no, they're not. They're just reacting.
They're reacting, yes.
In a way that you just don't like. Like you can't.
That doesn't suit you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard because it's like, I am sorry you feel that way. I'm more so I think that the little slight change is I'm sorry I made you feel that way. I think that's a little different.
That's owning it.
It's owning it.
A bit more.
I'm sorry that that was not my intention to make you feel that way.
Yeah.
What do we do now? How do we go from here?
Yeah. That's a better way of saying that. It's opening up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's such the
I
classic.
gotta get Gertie out of here.
She's going to be doing a Mission Impossible from the ceiling soon.
Sheesh. Okay.
Sheesh.
She's on one today. She's
Yes,
been
where she wants that muffin.
up and at 'em
Mm.
this morning, afternoon. All right. So here's my question. Do you think one of them is more important than the other?
What do you mean?
Intention and impact.
Good question. Is there intention? Should the focus be on the impact? It doesn't really matter. It's like, it doesn't really matter. The end result, the most important thing is how was it received? Because it's going to be received by that person differently to that person to that person. Know your audience, who you are saying this to, which you said before, you're poking around perhaps when you first meet someone and you're going in hard on the pulling the leg and thing, because you're working out, okay, this is what I can do with that person and this is going to be fun.
Right.
So know your audience. And I think it's when it comes to someone who's your partner, husband, wife, someone that you're so close to, that I feel that you know each other more or less inside out, as you progress through your relationship. I don't know. I think I've been in the situation where I'm like, and it gives me a feeling of an injustice.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't mean it like that.
I know.
But that's how it landed. And I'm so sorry for that.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I find it gets so risky. I don't know. Certain people, or especially now, it's triggered. I'm triggered. I don't want to be, for fear of sounding like I'm on the right. Sorry, lack of better words.
Right.
Because they always are saying shit.
Yeah.
Just because they're emotionally unintelligent, they don't understand. But that is a little bit where I think some certain kinds of people, they take that and they use that to their advantage, where they will always be victim. They will never own up. Right. They'll never, or they'll be like, well, last time I said this, I got my way, so I'm going to keep acting this way. Yeah. You hurt my feelings. Okay, but I actually didn't. You're being dramatic for real. Where it's like, here we go again. You can sometimes get the vibe of that. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And it's like people then just use that. I don't know. Yeah.
And then turn it.
And then it's like, okay, but is that also all in my head? Then there's my injustice part. Yeah. Especially because it's like, okay, you're not going to now make me like the bad guy when I know I actually am not, I guess that's kind of where it comes down to with me, like my poking, like, let me just see what kind of person you are, what's going on. I don't know. Because also I'm never like being blatantly mean. I just need to see how jokey can I be. Yeah. So there is the difference. It's so obviously impact is more important, but then that is the scary part, because I think certain people know the impact is most important and they can just play the victim card over and over and over again.
Some people like being a victim.
They do. And they just want to sit in that forever. Yeah.
They're like, okay, I'm going to infer anything and everything from this. And I understand it's not how you meant it to sound, but I want to be the victim because I always get the attention that way. But
in the same vein, people with impact, I feel like it can be switched the other way too, where you can play the whole I didn't mean it like that card, which is bullshit, because you did mean it like that. I've met people who will say something just blatantly mean, and then when you get offended, they say it was just a joke. Joking. Can't you take a joke?
Yeah, we know who does that.
And it's like, you weren't joking. We both know you weren't. This is just now your way out of this. Yeah. So that's, I think, the reverse to the victim card is always. Both of it's not taking responsibility at the end of the day.
Yeah, neither one.
Yeah.
Right. And also, even if you know your audience and it could be your partner, and that this joke or whatever, it would have landed successfully on any other day. However, you don't know when your partner walks through the door.
Right.
What kind of emotional baggage they're carrying around from that day's being out of the house and what they've experienced that day. And you could be the straw or breaking that camel's back, because you might just say something that's innocent and they've had it in their ear all day on this same theme.
Yep.
It might be, it's just some random thing. Yeah. But you're the one piling on.
Yeah.
at the end of it.
Not intending to.
Not intending, but they're just like, oh, not you as well.
Right.
You know?
Or like they have a different version of what home is going to look like in their head. Oh God, I had such a stressful day. I can't wait to just get home. And it's gonna be so like comforting and relaxing. And then you get home and your partner is like, woo, like just going crazy and like in a way different energy. And you're like, wait, this isn't what, or they're also stressed.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, I needed you to be there for me. And now we're both stressy. We've said so many times before, it's really just communicating. Most times after something goes wrong, because
it's true.
You just can't predict certain things.
It's true. Yeah. Like so many of the, just a little callback to the dishwasher thing. Yeah. So many couples, they'll do this, the tit for tat and the little digs and this and that. And, ends up in like a couple's Cold War situation, no one's speaking to each other. But I think as long as you both know that it was never meant out from spite or from a place that was meant from hurt, that coming from hurt. Yeah. If you've got that.
Yes, for sure. And knowing you can come back from it and the person's still your person. Yeah. At the end of the day. Yeah. I've found myself in almost every relationship beforehand, but being afraid to say stuff. Because I'm like, I don't want to lose them. I don't want to scare them away. I want to just be on my best behavior. Not going to rock the boat type thing. Yeah. So then it was me, only causing harm because not speaking up. Yeah. And then I was getting resentful. And then they almost had this other view of me. And then it got to a point so far where I was like, well, now I can't start speaking up because then they're going to be like, why are you being such a bitch?
What happened to you?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just finally at my breaking point where I have to say stuff. Yeah. So I'm trying not to do that. But it's great because then I'm like, oh, I'm not afraid to hold back how I feel. And all it does is make it better at the end of the day. Because then at the end of the day, you usually are like, all right, everyone says their sorries and move on. Yeah. Don't go to bed angry type thing. And then everything's good.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you then, apologies. Yeah. Have you got like, is there a way for you to say sorry? How do you do that? What's a good way to do that?
I'm so bad at saying sorry. I just am. I really am. I don't know why. It's just the hang up on the word. It's like, I mean it. I want to. I just can't sometimes, most times. I don't know why. And so I'll do like other ways, like, haha, like, I don't know. I'll like let them know I'm sorry without saying sorry, which is just so stupid and bad. I should just say it. It just is hard for it to come out of my mouth.
Just I don't those know, words or the feeling of being sorry?
The words, because I'll feel it. I don't know why, if it's just something my past, how I grew up, I don't know. Yeah. It just is hard.
Is it maybe, and I'm just projecting, is that just actually saying those words, I am sorry, is then just basically you're admitting something about yourself?
Maybe, yeah. I have this, that don't want to look dumb thing, and the affront that is sometimes hard for me to put down. Like, I have to keep up this front. And I know it. It's like a battle that's going on in my head in the moment, but I just can't do it sometimes. Because then it also does feel like if I say, okay, I'm sorry, that person's like, I knew it. I was right. Right. And I don't want that to happen.
So it's a battle of wills, kind of?
Kind of, where I'm like, just because I say I'm sorry doesn't negate everything that I said about why I said the thing. I still need you to still hear that. Right.
I'm not saying I was wrong.
Exactly. I'm just saying, that's it.
I'm just saying
you nailed it.
Yeah. I was right.
I will never say I was wrong. Probably. You're right. That is it.
I'm just laying this down. I was right, but I'm sorry. and then it's that passive aggressive shit.
Yeah, it's like I said in I think this episode. I don't know. Previously, at some point in time, I said like your feelings can still be valid, and I can still be right. Like the feelings can be valid, but you can also still be wrong. Yeah, that just is what it is. Yeah. Like I've been rightfully so, like upset. Yeah. And I'm like, I know I shouldn't be, but I am. Or, the classic funny thing on the internet, like, oh, my girlfriend had a dream I cheated on her last night. Now she's mad at me.
Right.
Right. Where it's like, that obviously makes no sense.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. It's all fake.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that thing of like, I know I'm wrong for being upset, but I'm still upset.
Right. Yes. It doesn't detract from the point, the fundamental point underlying that I'm still upset.
Yeah. And in those moments, I've said before too, I usually need to step away for a minute and collect, because then I'm going to do those lashing out things that you don't want to do.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Or
help.
I'm just irrationally upset.
Yeah. So know yourself, know your partner.
Yeah.
And do the dance, basically.
Do the dance. I mean, because like you said, ultimately at the end of the day, you don't want to be mean. You're not trying to be mean to this person. If you find yourself being mean to someone, you probably shouldn't be with them, because like, why do you want to be mean to your partner? You know,
that's not the point.
No.
Interesting. Do you think also that there's some kind of like, between generations, you could talk, the kids and, your parents and grandparents, everybody, the whole spectrum. Do you think that there's a big communication breakdown across multiple generations that has to do with just the way people are speaking these days? And does that lead to the confusion and then the arguments? And, does it come from generations that are brought up online, and most of their face-to-face interactions are getting less and less, and they're more just, written word, texting, emojis, and then if you get like different generations trying to interact, it's just like, I can't relate, you see where I'm going?
A little bit. Yeah, I do see. I think, it's inevitable. I think ultimately comes down to just, what did we say? Impact again?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How does it land?
Yeah. But also, like, everyone is so set in their ways. And I mean, I'm biased thinking, oh, we're doing it right.
Every gen thinks they're doing it right.
Yeah, we're doing it better.
Right.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to argue that, though, too, because, I mean, boomers, even Gen X, it's like, oh, you guys are so sensitive these days. And it's like, why? Because we're talking about our feelings. That's actually very helpful.
That's a healthy thing.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to therapy. A lot of y'all could have used therapy.
Yeah, you should have been there.
Yeah. And they're just so, or it's like, that's just the way it is. Like, I can't stand the old sitcoms where it's like, the wife, the ball and chain, oh, my bitch wife. Like, they all have that theme.
Shtick is, I know.
And then that's what
being fed.
Are. That's like what most of those marriages are.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, that's just how it is. And it's like joking about how they hate their husband and vice versa. And I'm like, do y'all understand that's not normal? And then they look at us and they're like, y'all are just doing too much. And it's like, no,
the other way.
We're not. Or like, oh, you're just so hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think it should be that hard.
Yeah.
I just think you don't like this person.
Yeah, or that's just the way they've been trained.
Just the way it is.
Yeah, the way it is, where they've been trained, the way it's been passed down, right?
It's also...
but just it filters.
Yes.
Right?
And then you have the kids, and it's like, okay, either they want to follow in those footsteps or they want to completely flip it. But then gender norms are changing too, right? I mean, as they should be, because women don't want to be subservient anymore, and they don't want to do this and listen to the man, and the man's the head of the household type stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of how a lot of the older generations are. So then they're confused why we're not. But we are responsible for changing it. Yeah. And it's on like, and the men, that's been nailed into their brains. So then, of course, they have to work harder to get out of that, to break that. That's why there's a male loneliness epidemic, because though women want to be, they're not settling anymore. Well, but these men that are like, it's like step up, grow and change like we've had to do. Yeah. Or we're not wasting time. We're not doing it. Right. Why is it my job to train you how to be a good person? Yeah. It's very tricky. It's tricky, but it's exciting. It is. It's exciting for women right now, I would say, right? Would you agree that this is new territory? You're forging a path, and I think men have got to fucking, if they want to join the ride, they gotta just adapt, change, understand a bit. I read something recently that for the first time in however many years, men are falling behind. More women are graduating. They're graduating with higher GPAs. They're doing, well, in all these different fields, women are excelling.
Right.
My theory was, if you grow up at the top of the food chain, essentially, in society, as men have, everything is made for you. You're not made to change or work hard or question
Status
anything. Status quo.
Yeah.
Where women have been forced to
work
above, like we have
Yes.
to, just to be on level playing ground.
Yeah.
So we're used to having to do that just to prove ourselves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
of course they're falling behind
Yeah.
because they're not changing anything. And then they're doubling down. Why would I change?
Why should I change? Yeah.
Incel culture, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things have come way too easy, and they've got that privilege that they've just been leaning on for so long. And that's why they're upset. It's like anyone who's like, they've got they're in possession.
Yeah.
They don't want to give it up.
No. And back in the day, literally straight up, and it's still in the marriage vows, you just like picked a wife and you married them. It was like, or the father picked out a man for the daughter.
Yeah.
It was just like, we don't have a say.
Yeah.
Men are in control. So now it's like, well, I want to date you. And the girl's like, no. They're like, what do you mean no?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's so interesting. But
Very interesting.
love it. Love it. Love to see just some
Yeah.
strong-willed ladies.
Keep that wave going.
Because we've also seen marriages of like, it's like they have two children, their actual child and their husband. And it's easier to be single than it is to raise a man child.
I would say.
Girls are realizing these days.
Yeah. And women just have far more agency now in their lives, and that's an amazing thing where they're just in control of all aspects of their life. They're not reliant anymore. They've got the independence, and with that comes, hang on, I've got choice.
Yes. Yeah. And I think men forget about that as well. They still want housewives, but at the same time, they still want her to have a job.
Yeah,
Like, hey,
all the things.
In the housewife era, women didn't have jobs.
Yeah.
That's why they were housewives. But somehow you want me to be this independent, confident, working woman who's also bringing money in, but then also at the same time, be home and clean and cook for you every day.
Housewife plus.
It doesn't work. You can't have both.
Premium level. I can't wait to see where that goes. I'd love that.
Oh, I know.
Because, if it's going that way, then it's got to go further than that, because you can't put the genie back, right?
We're already kind of unfortunately seeing the pendulum of it,
There's pushback.
There is
of course.
pushback.
Yeah.
There's obviously great men out there. Shout out, and then there's also men who are saying the same and then men who are doubling down. There's like three different chords. And then there's men who are overdoing it too. And then the manipulators, where they're like, oh, they're faking being so aware and emotionally this and that, because they know that's now what gets them women.
Whoa.
And then the real version comes through.
How does all this play out? How does it all wash out?
I have no idea. I think you just have to luck out,
Yeah.
luck of the draw.
Dang, that's a minefield.
Yeah, it is. I know. I'm glad I'm not single right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And then I think these are the important conversations to have with your partner, to be like,
early on.
well, how do you feel about all this kind of stuff? And it can tell you a lot.
And because women are so, I'm not saying, I'm just saying women are so, they're emotionally tuned that they can probably go in early on and they can see the red flags early days.
Or they've already had an experience and they're like, oh, okay, no.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth the risk anymore. For anyone, you don't want to get hurt. You want to waste your time in a relationship, all that. But also call back to previous episodes, like men just like to kill us,
Right.
So it's like, why would I risk it? If I see any red flag, like, how can this if you're not emotionally intelligent, you probably get angry easily and don't know how to control it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in that path.
Yeah.
I'm not going to risk it.
I know.
It says a lot.
Definitely not worth it.
Yeah.
Because men are violent. Men are.
And especially if they feel like they're owed something from you as a woman.
Yeah.
Then they get
if there's a no, they're going to go, what do you mean no?
Exactly. And you never know how that's going to land with certain people. It's very risky business out there.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why a lot of women are like, I'm just not even going to bother.
Right.
I can't,
Why,
it's not worth my life. Hello?
Whoa.
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 I don't know how we got there, but, who knows how we get anywhere. It's tangents of conversation.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I think this is a mammoth. It's a woolly mammoth of an episode, this one.
I mean, it's a hodgepodge. That's for sure.
And that's the title. It's a hodgepodge.
Hodgepodge.
Not a modge podge.
It's actually mod podge. Did you know that?
No.
I didn't know that until not too long ago either. When I was using that to glue my puzzles. Because everyone just says Mod Podge because it rhymes.
It rhymes. I like
but
a rhyme.
on the actual bottle, it's MOD, Mod Podge.
What is the mod short for? Is it like modern or modulated or?
Maybe.
I just invented that. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know what it
podge?
is. Not modern.
Modulated podge.
Model
podge.
To glue models together.
A puddle podge?
I have no idea. But yeah, it's Mod Podge.
Okay, we have machines we can Google and shit. Yeah. I like that.
Mm-hmm. What, Mod Podge?
Yeah. I'm going to keep calling it Modge Podge.
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Everyone still
it.
does. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
It makes it more fun.
Yeah.
You like a rhyme?
I do. There's no crime in a rhyme.
Oh, no. That was a crime of a rhyme.
It was coming.
Do we call it here?
Do you want to call it?
It doesn't feel like we talked for that long just now, but I guess we did. Last time, though, when we cut after that monster of an ep, we talked for another 20 minutes and we were like, fuck, that should have been on. It was good. We just went on another tangent.
I know. We had a pod after the pod.
Yeah.
Another half hour of natter. And you know what? That also, and I'm glad we're still recording this.
See?
It also, I thought this has got to be its own episode. What we talked about that shadow. Do you remember? We talked about everyone has a shadow. And I wrote that down. I got home and I was like, I don't think I've heard of this before.
You were intrigued, yeah.
Yeah, and I was intrigued. So I haven't delved because I knew we'd have stuff to talk about for this one. I haven't delved, but I think, I'm very intrigued about the shadow.
The shadow self, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that we should delve into that another time.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to see what my shadow is and say, hey.
Oof.
Really?
Yeah, there's I think it's literally called shadow work.
Yeah.
So I wonder, because I haven't done it either. Although maybe I have unintentionally. It's scary though, because it's like, will I ever know? That's the point of it. That's why it's called the shadow, is because it's stuff that you're hiding from yourself almost, I think you would almost need to record yourself or, which the pod has helped, right? Listening back with intention and impact.
Tell me about
listen
it.
back to some things I say and I'm like, I sound like such a bitch. And then I'm like, I didn't mean to at all.
That? Seriously?
Yeah. Or I sound like a certain way that I did not mean it when I said it, But then I'm like, if I can hear it, can other people hear it? So then I find myself cutting those things.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard a few things back because, I do like to listen back and whatnot. And I've heard some things back and I'm like, no, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. But, oh my God, it doesn't even matter. There's probably so many infinite different ways that people interpret what we say, That's why I was like, I can't go back and edit the edit and edit the edit and edit. Because I'm going to find something every single time that's new that I don't like.
That.
That's the other thing I don't like to think about, being perceived. And everyone you've met has a different version of you that exists. And that's scary to me.
It's so scary.
I hate that.
I represent this version of me.
Yeah.
That's the one I give out. But I'm sure it's...
You think it's the same one.
The same.
But no, everyone has a different story in their head of you or a different version of you.
Do you think, though, that everyone sees the best in you? So, you're the one, we've said before, is you're the biggest self-critic. So are the versions of me, so that version of me and that version of me, in your mind or whoever's mind, they're better than this version?
No, I don't think so.
No?
That's just I'm always like, everyone's thinking the worst, right?
Yeah. Oh.
But no, even if that is true, I don't think so, because think about someone in your life that you hate or you don't like. Someone that hasn't wronged you, that's a good valid reason for you to not like them, right? If they wrong you.
Yeah.
But if they haven't wronged you, you're just like, I just don't like them. You just don't like this person.
Yeah.
They have plenty of people in their life who love them.
Right.
So it's like, that's you. Like, I don't know.
Is it then that they just haven't got the version of you yet that...
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Or who knows what it is. I have no idea.
Which version have they got? Or
Yeah.
what? And it's once they've got the version of you in their mind, is it then hard to just look at you in a different light?
Probably, yeah. Or that, and there's a narrative in their head already.
Yeah.
About you or whatever.
Preconceptions?
Yeah.
Or is it always about, is that just that also mean thrown in the conversation that like first impressions are so important?
Yeah, definitely. There's also just like people just don't jive sometimes for whatever reason or.
Well, yeah.
But I have a hard time with that. Can't you guys see?
This version.
Why don't you also agree? Like, wake up, this person sucks. You know, but then I always have to remember everyone's different. Everyone likes different things, you know. But I'm like, no.
Isn't there
my opinion is right.
Well, there's that. But isn't there like a universal, everyone should agree on this? That this type of person is a person that we can all like or dislike.
You would think, but look at the president right now, right?
Right. We're so torn
like
on that.
if we can't even agree on that, which seems so black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think everyone's just so different. And everyone wants different things out of their different relationships with people, you know? I think certain people that I don't like that other people like, I don't need anything from them.
Okay.
And the people who do like them, they're getting something out of them. Some like validation or, you know what I mean? It's whatever this person is offering, I don't need it, but other people do.
Do you then look at interactions and people as purely like is a transactional? Is that where we're going with that?
No, I just mean, what's the point of being friends with someone if you're not getting something from them? I don't mean literally, physically, but they have to bring joy to your life or questioning or deep conversation, whatever it is that you want.
Okay.
They have to bring, like, I'm not going to be friends with someone who I'm like, I get nothing out. I'm bored.
Right.
What's going on?
Getcha.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd just be sitting on your own, twiddling your thumbs. You're like, well, hang on, I need some interaction with some people. I'd rather be talking to some people that, challenge me, or there's some fun, some joy, this, that, and the other. Why would I go then and speak to someone who's just the opposite of that?
Yeah, I like this podcast. Like, why I would have a different host, or like why we wouldn't be doing this if I didn't get something out of talking to you. Got it. And like vice versa, you know?
Yeah.
If you were just like, yep. Well, how's your day? The weather, this, that, which is, we do talk about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like, for us, there's this thing of, well, you challenge my thoughts.
Yeah.
You make me think in different ways, which is, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a reason for the podcast, and hopefully other people find that interesting, our differences.
Yeah.
If you boil it down to, I think our differences make this work so well is because there are different perspectives, and we're challenging each other to try and just to look at things slightly different.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. But also have the collective understanding.
Oh, yeah.
But then some people, all they really want out of a friendship is like, oh, you like that same sports team as me. Let's go watch the game together. And that's as far as it goes. Or, you like this one thing I like. Let's hang out and talk about that one thing. Yeah. Which is also valid.
Isn't it?
But that's why you have all these different people and the different
roles
camps.
in your life.
Yeah. Well, we just tacked on a little bit more there. I like it.
And we're just going to actually take that and put it into the next episode, and we'll keep doing that every week.
Okay. Yeah. That'll all be cut.
Well, should we call it there? I think we got plenty.
I think so. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed our just ramble, really, our hodgepodge, modge podge episode of all kinds of different tangents.
Yeah.
Maybe next week we'll get into some shadows.
Ooh.
Dun, dun.
The shadow.
In the shadow.
The shadows. Yeah. I always wondered what they were singing about.
It's shallow.
Oh.
I thought you knew that and you were just making a joke. Yeah, it's in the shallow, like shallow water.
the shallows, yeah.
Yeah.
Shallow end of the pool.
LOL. No, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, and that song I can't stand that.
It's a good movie. Maybe it's just been a minute.
Yeah.
All right. Outros.
Here it comes. You guys can follow us on Instagram at Tea and Toasties Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube at Tea and Toasties. Like, comment, share, review this podcast anywhere you get your podcast. And we will.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk at you next week.
And
TTFN.
Bye-bye.
Laters.